I am a disaster in the kitchen. So why are you watching me make an orange loaf? Hi, thanks for tuning in to find out what the deal is with turning this into a low-fat, healthy dessert. But first, I think a change of clothing is in order. Okay, how's this? An orange shirt for an orange loaf? So we're going to turn all of this into a delicious orange loaf that is gluten-free and low calorie, no sugar added. Sounds good, right? Orange, you glad you tuned in? You may have noticed a bottle of vinegar, a stainless steel cup, and are wondering how that is going to factor into an orange loaf. Well, I'm not sure how old my baking powder is, which is gluten-free, and I'm not sure how old my baking soda is. So I'm going to do a little experiment to see if they're still good. Okay, because I'm not the sharpest knife in the kitchen, I've been conversing with ChatGPT to find out a lot of things, and this experiment on how to test baking soda and baking powder is courtesy of ChatGPT. So let's give it a shot and see. What it says to do is put a little bit in a bowl of vinegar. If it fizzes, that means it's good. So let's see if the baking powder fizzes. Because it's been open for a while, maybe that'll have some effect on it. Nice. Okay, so this stuff is good. Let's try the baking soda. Same experiment. Put a little bit into a solution of vinegar. And if it foams, it's good. If it doesn't, we have a problem. Oh, nice. Yay. Wow. That was actually kind of cool. Who knew science would be so much fun in the kitchen? We've got all the ingredients we need. Let's get started. Okay, so the first instruction is to preheat the oven to 350. So that's happening right now while we get everything else ready. First thing we want to do is put all our dry ingredients into a mixing bowl. What it's calling for is a 1.5 cups of almond flour. Didn't say to sift it, so it looks good enough, I think. And then a 1/2 cup of coconut flour. Oh, I can smell the coconut. Then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I'll make sure I don't pour this over the bowl in case it comes flying out of the envelope, and I don't want to end up with too much. Oh, yeah, I'm spilling it already, so rather spill it on the counter than in the bowl. 1/2 teaspoon of that. And now I forgot to include salt in this, but yes, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, I had to find a different measurement because I didn't trust myself with my math. So a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. The instructions don't say to do this, but I'm assuming you have to mix this stuff together. So I'm just going to use a whisk to do it. Okay, we'll just put that aside. Now for the wet ingredients. Okay, we need a 1/2 cup of applesauce. And 1 container is not quite enough. Oh, it's almost. I'll open another one. Just to be safe, because this is our only sweetener besides the concentrated orange juice, so we want to make sure we have enough sweetness to make this somewhat delicious. Yeah, now that's a little too much. Okay, 1/2 cup of applesauce. Now a 1/2 cup of condensed orange juice. Probably should have let this thaw a little more than what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to pop this in the microwave just to liquefy it. Okay, I don't know how I did it, but I got exactly a 1/2 cup of concentrated orange juice. And I should mention, according to the recipe, you can do just concentrated orange juice, or you can do a 1/4 cup of orange juice concentrated and a 1/4 cup of almond milk. But I've chosen not to do the almond milk because my experience with orange loaves, I've tried 2 other times and both times they did not have an orange flavor at all. So I want to make sure that this has some orange taste to it. So as I was developing this recipe with ChatGPT, I kept, saying, how do you make it more orangey? So this is what we've come up with. So hopefully it works. Next wet ingredients, 3 eggs. These are large size. And I'm going to show you a little trick I learned. This has nothing to do about breaking the egg, but if you do this, listen for the click. Did you hear that? Okay, that is a membrane separating from the shell. And if you do that before boiling eggs, they'll be easier to peel. I really hate breaking eggs because I'm not really good at it. Sorry, I was gonna tap it again to show you. Okay, just listen. Yep, there it was again. And did you know if you get shell in your batter, the best way to get it out, or into anything you're cooking with eggs, the best way to get it out is with a piece of the eggshell. It'll adhere to it like nobody's business. Okay, I'm just going to tidy up this mess a little bit before I go on to the next thing. I'm actually going to attempt to save the rest of this orange juice, try to refreeze it, and I don't want it to get freezer burns, so I'm going to put some saran wrap into the cylinder. Like so it covers, takes any airspace out. So now when I put this on, yes, it's created an airspace, but it's not actually touching the orange juice. And this trick also works for ice cream to avoid that horrible freezer burnt taste that ice cream can develop. And the good thing about the saran wrap is it now makes a seal, putting the lid back on tighter. So it hopefully will stay. Now the recipe is calling for a tablespoon of orange zest. So I will attempt to zest on this. I don't know if you recognize this vegetable slicer from my Temu video where I actually tested it and discovered I hated this part, but love the other parts. So let's try to zest some orange. You always want to avoid getting the white part, the pith, I think it's called, because it will make it bitter. But I don't know, my brother and I, when we were kids, we always ate that part, the white part, and never found it bitter. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. And yes, even though it's calling for a tablespoon, if I get more than that, I'll be happy because, again, I want to make this as orangey as I can. I actually really debated whether I should put in some artificial orange flavor. I don't want to do that, and I don't think I will because I want to keep this as natural as possible. I'm really hoping for some orange taste in this one. Okay, let's see how much we got out of 1 orange. Oh, looks like a nice amount. But is it a tablespoon? I definitely don't want less than called for. More is better. Okay, so it looks like 1 orange equals about a tablespoon of zest. So we shall add it. I don't want to waste another orange by doing more zest, or do I? I was supposed to beat the eggs after I added them, so oops. And also in this portion, I call for some vanilla extract. Ooh, I think I'm really gonna wish I had beaten those eggs. As I wondered about using the second orange, I realize I'm going to have to do that because this just does not have enough orange sent to me. We will have the zest of 2 oranges in this. Okay, and now give that another stir. Don't want to overmix the batter when you add the flour. This needs to be mixed as well as it can be at this stage. One thing I'm really not looking forward to is the parchment paper in the loaf pan. Box doesn't have a cutter on it, so you need to use scissors, I guess. Let me know if you know a way to do this without totally demolishing it. Okay, forget the parchment paper. I just can't work with that stuff. I don't know why. I am going to just spray it with a non-stick spray and hope for the best. Okay, so this is olive oil. I don't know how that's going to make it taste, but okay, and I believe that was way too much. So what I'll do is get a paper towel and just mush it around. Oh yeah, way too much. Okay, wish me luck on this because it's not exactly covering the whole thing. I'm really second guessing the olive oil things. I just don't understand how this is supposed to work. But, just a sec. Some of you may recognize this from one of my Temu reviews. This is that letter opener that I can't live without. Did you see that? See why I love this thing? So I'll try cutting the corners again. Maybe if I do this. Is that how you're supposed to do it? Okay, I'm hoping the weight of the dough will keep this in place. Let's do the mix. Maybe I should have probably added that slowly, a little at a time. GPT didn't tell me to, so I don't know if I should be using a whisk for this. I don't think I should because it's all balling up inside. Oh, who let me into the kitchen? Okay, I'm going to try to stir it with something else. It says I'm going to need a spatula eventually, so maybe I'll try that. So I don't know if it's the oranges sitting right here that I can really smell or if it's batter. I'm really hoping it's the batter. Into the pan it goes. Why am I thinking the batter should be much more runny than this? It says now to tamp it down with a spatula, so that's what I'll do. So I'm not surprised this is probably not working out the way it's supposed to. I am a disaster in the kitchen. So why are you watching me make an orange loaf? Okay, so into the oven it goes for 40 to 45 minutes. That seems like a long time. I'll check it after maybe a half hour. An option is to add a glaze to it, but the glaze requires sugar and I'm trying to keep this low fat, low calorie. So I don't think I'm going to use a glaze on it, but perhaps it's going to need something. Anyone know how to reseal a resealable Robin Hood flour bag? I see no way to do this. Looks like there's an indent where the Ziploc should have been, but there's not one there. Not impressed, Robin Hood. Robbing from the poor here, not the rich. Now I'll have to use one of my good clips, and I'll probably never use this flour again. So this will be stuck in my pantry forever. Whereas this coconut flour, you can definitely see the Ziploc. I'm going to take it out now, but it says to take it out and let it cool in the pan for 5 minutes. So here it is. I don't know what to think of it, but we will let it cool. So depending on how this turns out, may depend on whether I end up on August the Duck's channel. If you haven't checked that out, you might want to check it out. He makes fun of a lot of internet cooks, including a woman named Kay. But I hope I'm not in the same league as her, because wow, her stuff is pretty bad. Because we use coconut and almond flour, this is actually a very healthy dessert for people looking for low carb, gluten-free, dairy-free choice. So even though it may not be that appealing to most people, it will be to people with certain dietary restrictions. And like I mentioned in one of my Temu review videos, I'm trying to eat well. And so maybe this will taste so good that I want to do it again. I'm going to go get it and take it out of the pan. It weighs next to nothing. I think I'm glad I didn't do the olive oil because I can really smell it in that pan, and I don't think it was the flavor I was going for. Okay, it does have the orange scent I was hoping for, but wow, it didn't raise much at all. If anything, I think it flattened. So I think it needs to cool for a while longer before I can actually cut it. Doesn't it look delicious with the fake oranges behind it? Okay, the moment of truth. Should ChatGPT and I go into the bakery business? Let's find out. And yes, I know I'm cutting it with a steak knife. This is just one of my favorite knives that I cut everything with. It's not that it's that tough that it needs a steak knife. Okay, let's try it. Okay, you can see the specks of orange zest. That's good. It breaks apart nicely. I like it. It's really tangy and not sweet. I think it's the coconut flour that gives it kind of a coconutty texture, which I'm not hating. Again, not enough orange flavor. What will it take? The more I eat, the more I like. For all the things it isn't, like no gluten, dairy-free, low carb, it's very good. So for a healthy alternative to a high-calorie dessert, this might be it. And yes, a glaze probably would also help. Just a quick update on the orange loaf. It's been a day since I made it, so it's had time for the flavors to meld, and it is much better the second day. And what I've discovered too is putting some pineapple yogurt on it makes it an incredible taste sensation. This cake would make a great base for something like orange shortcake or bready kind of thing, like put a cream cheese with citrus added into it. It could be a very tasty treat. It's not a traditional North American kind of dessert, but it is delicious. And I think it has a lot of uses. So good. The yogurt gives it kind of a whipped cream consistency. Highly recommend this. Oh no, so does this mean that artificial intelligence actually is intelligent and world domination is the next recipe? Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with everyone you know and love. Till next time, this is The Deal with Orange Loaf, made by GPT and me.